Afternoon, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Tuesday, February 10th with news headlines from Arkansas. News last night from Eureka Springs, our favorite little city up in the Arkansas Ozarks. Hours after the Arkansas legislature in one house had approved a bill to protect legal discrimination against gay people, the Eureka Springs City Council passed an ordinance that extended civil rights protections to gay people. The state law, if it's passed, is intended to prevent future Fayetteville ordinances or Eureka Springs ordinances that provide protection under city laws that is not provided under state law. I think that there's going to be a hard time for the state law, if it is passed through the rest of the legislature, to withstand court scrutiny if a lawsuit is filed. There's pretty clear U.S. Supreme Court precedent on this, and so Eureka Springs stands up for liberty and equality. It's an iconoclastic town and makes news once again for a good reason. Today, there's yet further developments in this field. Bob Ballinger, who lives near Eureka Springs and represents that part of the state, has another bill he calls a religious conscience bill, but it's nothing more than another bill to also protect those who want to discriminate against gay people. It came out of committee today after a strong debate, I must say, but it likely will pass as well. Set up yet one more lawsuits for the state of Arkansas to lose with people falling on their swords in the name of religion or some other moral expression. Other news in the legislature today, Representative Warwick Saban of Little Rock has introduced what is effectively a state earned income tax credit bill. It would provide a small tax credit for working poor people, the one group of people that have been left out of Asa Hutchinson's big income tax reduction package. Hutchinson, you may recall, cut taxes for middle-class taxpayers, but he also restored part of a capital gains tax cut that mostly benefits the wealthy. Legislation was introduced yesterday that I've learned will also restore the entire capital gains cut, including a capital gains tax exemption on income earned in excess of $10 million. Still nothing for poor people. Saban's bill would provide this earned income tax credit for working people. Whether it gets any support from the governor or not, we just have to remain to be seen. Other legislative news, the legislation to abolish the State Lottery Commission and replace it with something under the governor's control came out of a Senate committee today. A Pulaski representative failed in his bill to make it easier for Maumelle and Sherwood to remove themselves from the Pulaski County School District. A legislator has one in the standard series of bills to poach general revenue and divert it to highway spending, always a controversial topic, particularly when money is in short supply. And Asa Hutchinson says we need to do something about prisons, where it's going to take more money to improve the parole system, perhaps build regional prisons. All of this, and we're still talking about tax cuts. Something's got to give somewhere. In a Pulaski County Circuit Court today, boxer Jermaine Taylor made a court appearance. The judge says he needs still more time in the hospital. There was testimony that he is battling alcohol and drug problems and behavior problems and could use some more time in hospital. They're talking about a rehabilitation plan. He still has criminal charges pending, but I think at last there's sort of a sensible approach being taken to addressing some of the clear problems that Jermaine Taylor has. Prize fighting is probably over for him. Interesting story in the New York Times today about a new report that details with great specificity the lynchings in southern states in the years in the 19th and 20th centuries. A bad place for Arkansas in this report. Phillips County, Arkansas ranks #1 in the country in the most lynchings of any southern county during this time period. The numbers in Arkansas are inflated by an asterisk that doesn't exactly ameliorate the number, but it's from one event, the Elaine Race riots, when perhaps more than 200 people were massacred. Some items that I'd encourage you to read today. Go to the Arkansas blog, read Ernest Dumas' explanation for this week's paper about the benefits of Obamacare. Employment is up, Medicaid spending is down, the state revenue situation is improving dramatically, particularly because of stimulus from Obamacare spending. All of this is contrary to all the dire predictions that were made by opponents of the program that got a lot of people elected on those dire predictions, by the way. And finally, I'm keeping track of how the legislature is making a mockery of the supposed Ethics Amendment 94 that voters approved in November. There are no fewer than 11 different meals and cocktail parties free for legislators today that they can enjoy despite Amendment 94's ban on freebies to legislators. They get to go to these things under a so-called scheduled activity exception. People may have thought this meant to be a scholarly or learned type of seminar event. It's nothing more than special cocktail parties for special people. But as I've pointed out, you can attend these things under the rules and Constitution of Arkansas. Meetings of the legislature are open to the public, so drop by the Copper Grill or one of the other fancy restaurants where legislators meet and see what they're talking about. Don't expect a free meal, of course. I'm Max Brantley, and I'll be back tomorrow.